ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावतीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। So we will listen to the Pratasmarami and then start.
रागस्वरामि कृति संस्फुर आत्मतत्त्वम् सच्चित् सुखम् परमहं सगदिं तुरीयम् यच्छ्रुतजागर सुषुप्तिम् अवैति नित्यम् तद्ब्रह्मनिष्कलमहम् न च प्रातर्भजामि मनसा वचसा भगम्य वाचो विभाति निखिला यदनुग्रहेण यं नेति नेति वचनेहि निगमा अवोचु तत्तेव देववचम् अच्युतम् आहुरक्रियम् प्रातर्नवामितमसा परमर्कवर्णम् पूर्णं सनातनपदम् पुरुषोत्तमाख्यम् यस्मिन्निधं जगदशेषम् अशेषमो दृष्ट्वा भुजङ्गमिव प्रतिभासितं वै श्लोकत्रयमिदं पुण्यम् लोकत्रयविभूषणम् प्रातःकाले पठित्यस्तु सङ्गच्छे परं पदम्।
We are going to deal with only one first verse. They don't have their three simple verses, not simple in the sense that quantity wise, three verses, and there is no specific name given to them. They are known as Pratas Smarami Stotra. And going by the poetic grandeur, it is understood that it is composed by Adi Shankara. Pratasmarami Hridi Samspurat Atmatattvam. The English translation goes like this. At dawn, Prata, I remember Smarami, the pure essence Atma Tattvam shining forth Samspurat brilliantly within my heart, Hridi. Existence, consciousness, bliss. Which is the goal of the sages who are Paramahamsas or the Supreme Swan, or also we can say the state of what is shining forth in my heart, Satchit Sukham, existence, consciousness, bliss, which is verily the state of the Paramahamsas. That also we can say. From there, from that state of Paramahamsa, the spirit witnesses all my three states. Yet Swapna Jagara Shushuptim, dream, waking, and deep sleep. From which state? Paramahamsam Turiyam, fourth state. Tad Brahma Nishkalam, I am the eternal spirit, that Brahman, which is not just merely a collection or amalgamation or combination of the five elements. The entire Vedanta secret of the 108 Upanishads is jam packed without time space. It is packed into this one single verse. Everything you have to believe me, all what to give, when to give, what session to give, what to be poured, everything is intuitively given by Swami. Otherwise, we should have continued with the Ashtavakra Gita versus now. How this came, he knows. Pratasmarami. Prata. We remember the bhajan Pratasmaranam Shri Guru Charanam Sai Isha Charanam Mama Guru Sharanam. Upon waking up, the dawn. Upon waking up from the deep sleep, or upon waking up from awakening from the ignorance avidya. Deep sleep is actually ignorance in the literal sense also, because we are ignorant of our desires, our wants, our world, etc. So, in the literal sense, deep sleep is the state of ignorance, Anandamaya Kosha. And in the spiritual, this thing, if we have to see, this prata is upon awakening from the state of avidya, ego. Smarami. Shankara did not say, upon awakening, I invented. Upon awakening, I knew something. Upon awakening, I attained something. He said, Smarami. I remember. This remembering has a very, very profound meaning. I have got up and I am aware, I am remembering my state of pure awareness self. Just until few minutes, in the Ashtavakra Gita, Janaka says that a moment before the entire society was there, it is not exactly matching this, but to bring about that comparison, he is telling. A moment before the entire samsara was there before me, where it vanished now, where it has gone. On the contrary, here, a moment before, there was total deep sleep. Nothing was there. Nothing was there. Or maybe I was dreaming something. In dream, people were there. I was there. I had created myself in the dream. Something was happening. All this changed in one stroke, and I got up. But smarami, because whether it was the deep sleep state, whether I was dreaming a moment before, or whether I have woken up, now I am awake. All these things, I don't, for a dream state, I don't have to be a different I. Deep sleep state, I don't have to be a different I. Waking state, I don't have to be a different I. I remember, smarami, in and through all the states as a witness consciousness, I am. So I remember at once that I am. Place changed from the dream deep sleep, body changed, mind changed, everything changed. The world changed. There was no world in my sleep. The entire world has sprung up now from nowhere. But the one who is experiencing all these states is unchanged. And that state I remember, smarami. It is like changing my dress, waking state, my blazer, like the peeling of onion, waking state, my blazer, dream state, my shirt, deep sleep, my vest, and beneath all the things I am, the pure consciousness. We are not awakened to some new identity, some newly found Atman. It is not an invention. Okay, we are just remembering what we were and what we are always, all through these our births. And remembering our true identity as self is not a step by step process. It is not a part by part remembrance. We never remember at physical terms also. When we wake up, it is not that only leg comes to us first. Then we remember, oh, I have hands. Oh, I have this face too. It doesn't happen. We remember when we wake up, we exist as the whole. Exactly. Upon awakening from the darkness of ignorance, the remembering comes as a whole. The I am self. It comes, it is remembered as whole and at that instant immediately. Smarami, Smriti. So many times he refers to Upanishads as Shruti. Shruti, Smriti, Purananam. There is a verse, Alayam Karunalayam. Shruti is what was heard. Upanishads were not taught like this and written down, documented, nothing. It it was given by a guru to a disciple or few disciples, and the lineage continued. They passed on, they passed on, they passed on. And while the Upanishads were heard, Shruti, and subsequently they were remembered, Smriti. So here we are referring to that remembering, Smarami. Smarami is remembering my true identity as given in detail in the Shrutis, which I remember. Shruti is what? It is all at the true identity. And upon awakening, upon waking up from my slumber of ignorance, I, Shruti, Smriti, I remember all the revelations of Shruti as me, myself, the pure consciousness. Hridi samsfurat atma tattva. The realization is experienced in the heart always. And the masters teach what they experienced within the heart, and they turn out to be Upanishads or Vedanta treatises. In the Taittiriya Upanishad, it says, I discovered in the cave of my heart. Self shining, Hridi Samsfurat, the essence of self, Atma Tattvam, shining forth. The shining forth is described as one of the Sarupa Lakshanas, Jnanam. Again in the Taittiriya Upanishad. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Anandavalli. Brahma Anandavalli, first verse. Vidyaranya says in Panchadashi, in poetic description, he says, and thus goes world's circle of our days, months, years, and the life after life as we die and as we are reborn. The sun of consciousness, beauty, genius, beauty. The sun of consciousness neither sets nor it arises. Forever it shines, samspura, blazing forth, Hridi samspura. I am that sun of consciousness, Atma Tattva. A genius poet in Shankara is beyond, far, far beyond imagination. If only one of you, or few of you, or many of you, or all of you, 7, 8 of you, sincerely sit and contemplate. And if you ever get the glimpse of that awareness, then only one can really understand with mouth open, awestruck, how upon awakening to spirit, upon realization, the awareness is not experienced in dark silence, but it shines forth in its full, pristine, wonderful, magnanimous, grand beauty, Sansvarat. Sansfurat is an expression which can make a sadhaka exist in contemplation and contemplate upon this one single expression, Hridi Samsfurat, for a very long time. As he said, we got up within fraction of seconds. When we look up, we look towards everything in the room at home with full it takes a while, but once our eyes are open, even before we go to brush, we see the entire thing in the room at one stroke, brilliantly. Full illumined eyes, not in parts, not in sequence. Full Hridi Samsfura Atma Tattva. Exactly in the same manner, when our sleep of ignorance is gone, when realization dawns, and we remember what we are, the pure awareness is instant and wholesome and brilliantly shines Hridi Samsfura. Shankara could have used a simpler expression if this awakening is a simple process in human life. Slow, process wise, normal process. So what? Awakening daily. But since this is the ultimate awakening, he writes, the prata is that one day, one morning. It could be in practical sense, physical sense, it could be midnight also when the realization dawns. The prata is that day of your awakening. And sparami is that one eternal remembrance of who I am. When that pratasvarami happens, then the Atma Tattvam which is discovered, which is remembered, has to be so brilliant that he can only use the expression Hridi Samsfurat Atma Tattva. What is happening within even while these expressions come is far, far beyond expression. Because it is being existed also, and it is eternally experienced also, and it is poured also. Both the things, all the things are happening simultaneously. Beautiful, beautiful. If we are awakened to such a Hridi Samsfurat, awakened to self illumination, then each day is awakening to the spirit. Otherwise, he taught in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad to few sadhakas, and it is uploaded also on YouTube. I don't think more, apart from the three, one or two, beyond that, four or five might have listened. That's it. If we are not awakened to that pure spirit, true identity of ours, if we are awakened to our true identity, then it is Hridi Samsfura. It is shines forth the whole day until we go to the sleep. And again, when we get up again, it is always shining, 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 shining. Otherwise, he taught in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. If we do not wake up to this smarami, to this true identity of who I am, and we just wake up as a jiva bound in samsara and then set forth into this world, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad turned the tables and said, such a waking up and plunging into the samsara and acting with the avidya kama and getting all the karma in return. This kind of waking up, this type of waking up by every jiva, it is described in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad as death. It is not waking up, it is actually death. Yajnavalkya teaches to Janaka, it is Mrityu Rupani, death. Whereas, where is that waking up with the kama, with the asanas, with the kleshas, and Why death? Because you are adding dushkarmas to yourself, and then you are going to perish, 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 perish. Your spirit is dying, it is dead. So, physically, you may be an emperor, but your spirit is dead, so it is death. Whereas here, when you are really smarami, when you are awakened to the spirit, that prata, that which I will note down in my diary as that one day of awakening. When such an awakening happen, here is a death when we are when we wake up with avidya. Here is the Shri Samspuran. It is the shining which Koti Surya Samatejas, that is it. This shining will never ever extinguish. At once, when that Hridi Samspurat morning, that is why a yogi from the morning till night, in he remains in that Sahaja Sthiti. Because that shining from the deep sleep when he gets up. In deep sleep also it is the same witness consciousness. It is it is not active, but he is very much aware that I, authentically he says it was I who was there witnessing the deep sleep. And when that Sriti Samsvarat, when he is going to use it 1,000 times, this expression maybe, when that awakening takes place, when that Atma Tattvam shines brilliantly, the moment the eyes are opened, or even the eyes may not be open, physical eyes from the deep sleep when he gets up. Maybe in the dhyana he gets up. From that moment till he gets into the deep sleep, it is a permanent, here it was an sad, sorrowful death, this waking up with avidya. Here it is an eternal awakening. The brilliance of that samsurat, that Atma Tattvam shining is eternal, eternal, eternal. See the difference. You choose. You want this or you want this. Choice is yours. And thus we chose one of these two, and thus our life goes on. And we die and we are reborn again. Satchit Sukham. In Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Yajnavalkya explains all about self to King Janaka. And in the context of Sukham, Janaka explains the highest knowledge is also the highest happiness. Chit is Sukham, he explains. This is a point which is driven home into the mind of the King Janaka. All our attempts, all our enterprising efforts in the world are towards the acquirement of happiness. First or second blog post 2000, it doesn't remember, 2016 or 17 December, it starts with search for happiness. The purpose of human birth session starts with search for happiness. All his initiation, the first session to any sincere devotee starts with the search for happiness, because jiva is in ever in the search of happiness, unless till the time, till that birth, till that d-day, pratasvarami, that day awakens when he discovers the Satchit Sukham within. And no happiness in the world is permanent. Our happiness is tied to the objects of the senses. We always try to find happiness in certain external things. Thus, when the object passes away, the happiness also passes away. The object comes, and we think that the object is fetching us the happiness. We cling to that object, maybe object or human being or relationship or whatever it is. We cling to that object. We never want to let go that object. And object being object, it's very nature being impermanent or transient, it leaves. Heartlessly, it leaves as though, and it takes away all the happiness along with it. But our very aspiration of permanent happiness is a symbol, an indication of its existence somewhere. In and through our search of happiness in all our objects, and our never getting satisfied with the happiness which we derive so called from any of the objects, and our सूरज को धरती तर से धरती को चंद्रमा, our our eternal search for happiness gives us a secret that happiness is lying somewhere else, not here. Until the time a human being does not reach that point, pratas marami satchit sukham, the journey continues. He dies and he is reborn. He dies, he rebirth, death, etc. Till the time he reaches that. In simpler words, if we are born as human beings, we must know, at least at Mananam level, we know that our journey is not going to stop till the time we reach that Satchit Sukham. Thereafter, daily we can wake up to this avidya and wake up to this day, which is actually death. And this waking up to death can continue for 100 births if we lack the conviction to strive for that Satchit Sukham. The permanent happiness that we are aspiring for, the great bliss that we are seeking in this world is not where we are seeking, it is elsewhere. Actually, it is within us. Actually, it is we. Satchit Sukham is we ourselves. And we are searching outside. It is not outside us, it is not external to us. For the old time sadhakas, it will be a beautiful recap when he explained about the treasure hunt game which was played by uh, in his companies in the 90s, when the treasure, which was a small ball, and in the Mussoorie Mountains, the team of 100 people ran here and thither and hither and thither and were running like mad, searching for the treasure outside. Whereas the person, the facilitator who was facilitating this thing, uh, game, he had hidden that small ball inside his hat, because here in the God, we are never going to search happiness. We are going to search for happiness elsewhere only. And here is Swami who says, Mudhamate, where are you striving? Where are you? There is a Hindi song. It just flows, it just comes. It is actually sung for the beloved, but it is for the God. All the exterior songs which are sung for, he can count hundreds of such songs. And he can get lost in those songs when he can relate, he can replace Swami for that fiance or the beloved. It says, काशी देखी मथुरा देखी, देखा ये जग सारा, कहीं न मन का मीत मिले तो आया तेरे द्वार, तेरे द्वार खड़ा एक जोगी. Okay, I searched for that happiness everywhere, in Kashi, in Mathura, everywhere. Man ka meet, who is our true companion? Man ka meet, only friend. I came to you. And what does Swami say? Says he's what he said to Sanjay Mahalingam. I have been waiting for you for so long. It is not outside us. It is just another name for universe, absoluteness of the being, universality of the being, the absoluteness of reality. This is true happiness, Brahman. And this true happiness, we need not go through Manushya Ananda to Brahma Ananda at that level. What is that Ananda? It is Sat being, it is Chit consciousness. Sat Chit is culminating into Ananda. Actually, Sat and Chit are not two separate nature to be contemplated. In the Vedantic language, it is always said that such Sat is juxtaposed with Chit and Chit is juxtaposed with Sat. We can even remove the juxtaposition and we can claim, we can say, as we grow in spiritual sadhana in this Vedanta path, we can say Sat is Chit. Existence is pure awareness and Chit is Chit. Sat. Pure awareness is eternal Sat. There is no difference between, there is no not even need to use the juxtaposition to align them. They are the same. And at the highest experience of the Brahma Ananda, as he roars 1,000 times, the expression Ananda is given in Shrutis for an aspirant to relate it in his sattvic mind. Because at the human level, sattvic mind, we can, at the peak of our attainment, we can attain only for that happiness, joy. That is why this Ananda has been, Sukham has been brought in the Vedanta expressions. But when you reach the Satchit and when you reach exist as Satchit, then there is no one in you to say that it is Sukham. Sukham goes, then the Satchit expression goes, the awareness of awareness goes, and anything to be expressed goes. The person who is expressing, he goes. That attainment which is being expressed goes. And whatever remains after all these things goes, that you are. Difficult for sadhakas in early stages, but at least you can write it down and then experience this when you progress. Paramahamsa Gatim. A famous shloka on Hamsa talks about the symbolism and significance of this majestic bird. The English translation of the verse goes like this: O Hamsa, being the auspicious vehicle of Goddess Saraswati, you carry learning and art upon your shoulders. Give us that discriminating wisdom for which you are famous, such as your proverbial ability to separate the substance of milk from the water. There are two, three qualities of the swan bird. The swan is a symbol of the Ramakrishna mission flag. Hmm? And below it is a Tanno Hamsa Prachodayat, swan bird. Those who have ever been associated with Ramakrishna mission, swan can glide on water without getting its feathers wet. With the help of the Brahma Vidya, Brahma knowledge, Brahma Vidya, Brahma Anubhuti, we can live in this materialistic world without accumulating the dust of materialism. Swan can also soar up into the sky from the water body. This symbolizes the need to easily rise above earthly ties. A true yogi needs to perfect these two qualities. Living in the earth without touching the earth, without touching the samsara, and at will to be able to fly and reach beyond the sky. At will. Even while here, both the things happening simultaneously need not even the yogi need not even sit and contemplate that, oh, I am in this samsara, now I have to take off. The taking off is his sahaja sthiti, sahaja samadhi. But the greatest quality of swan, which is always talked about, is its capacity. It is said that it is the swan bird is able to separate milk from water and take the milk and leave the water. With Brahma Vidya, with Brahma Anubhuti, a person is capable of adapting this quality of swan, and it will help to swim across the ocean of samsara. He can take he can, what is it to say that the swan bird is able to separate the milk from the water, even in the milk mixed with water, or water mixed with the little milk, whatever you say. He's able to, that means that in the samsara, he is able to segregate that Parama Ananda Satchit Sukham Sthiti, that eternal state, Smarami Sthiti, from this all the all the miseries of the samsara, and he can see sitting in the samsara, existing in the samsara, he can desert those miseries of samsara and take only the milk. Smarami Satchit Satchit Sukham. This is the goal of the Paramahamsa Gatim. The white color of the swan is also the symbol of excellence. In Hindu mythology, the white colored Hamsa, the vehicle of goddess Saraswati, lives in the Manasa Sarovar lake near the Kailasha mountain. So the title of Paramahamsa is not something which anyone can just take it like that. A Shrotriya Brahmanishta Guru has to confer this title, this qualification to his sadhaka turned seer disciple, that you are Paramahamsa from now on. Whereas he need not name anyone or any few, people just take this title as it is and say, so and so Paramahamsa. Papam. Turiyam. This is a subject matter of Mandukya Upanishad, but our his brother Sundarayar, he has given this exposition of the four states of consciousness with the diagram of Om. In fact, in one of the discourses, he takes all this yoga, this thing, uh, disciples, students to the seashore, and he draws a big Om and then he shows. It is also available. This part has been taken from the Pratasmarami talk by Sundarayar. He is also forwarding this to the what's to the group, and he will show here. Oh, from here he cannot forward. Okay, sorry. Even if you are not able to see properly, okay, he shall forward to Raghava. Maybe he can forward it to others in the Sai Tattva group immediately. Yeah, Raghava, you can forward it. Okay, being, stay glued to me, stay focused. Raghava, Satya Sai Tattva, big group. Om, okay, and there is a joining curve here, and here there is a curve and a bindi. This is what is Om. Visualize this as he forwards to the group. Yeah, it is forwarded. You can open it and keep it and see. The down curve in the Om, the below this curve, this is, you take it as Jagrat Sthiti. And the upper part of the curve, you take it as deep sleep, Shushupti. And the curve which is going here, this you take it as the dream Swapna. And the what does the curve over which the bindi exists, that curve he will explain now. But that bindi over that curve, that is the Turiya Sthiti. Turiyam, Satchit Sukham Turiyam. Okay, keep it flat in your heart, in your mind. And now come. Here is the dream. From the dream state, at will, as per the play of the mind, one can join the Om curve, and he can, from the dream, he can either go to deep sleep, or from the dream, he can wake up to the waking state. And this oscillation, this waking to dream, okay, deep sleep to dream, dream to waking, dream to deep sleep, this keep on happening. And the central point which is joining this Om with this the three states, that is the mind. Okay, the top independent, what is Turiyam, we will see now. It is the fourth ultimate state of consciousness, or the absolute state of consciousness, or the source of the source explained in the Dridrishya Viveka, absolute consciousness. That bindi on top is the Turiyam. This, there is a curve over there. That is the Turiyam. Okay. And the curve below the bindi, that is the small experiences which we get in our meditation, okay, which we think, okay, we have cut off from the three states of consciousness, we have cut off from the mind, and we have reached that curve, we have in a very advanced state. We let us think we are not going to come back again to the mind, but still that curve is, are those small glimpses. Those glimpses are the real, you are in tune with your real self. But still, you have to leave that curve, the small glimpses of that state, and then you have to jump to that independent bindi and exist there eternally. While you see the waking, the dream, the deep, all are connected in at the central point in the mind. The mind drives a jiva to at its pleasure. The mind enslaves the jiva and drives him to waking, drives him to dream, drives him to deep sleep, and plays and keeps makes him play within these three states continuously, helplessly. Whereas that turiya, the bindi upon the curve is just totally independent. Mind cannot go and touch that. That temporary bliss, that curve, okay, it is not the Anandamaya Kosha. Anandamaya Kosha is in the deep sleep. That curve upon which that bindi is existing, that curve is explained as Rasaswada. Jnanavahini, second page or third page, you will see. Swami has explained. It is that bliss, that happiness. And Swami has given in the Jnana Vahini initially 3, 4 obstacles for sadhana. And in that, he has kept given this Rasaswada also as one of the obstacles, because these moments of the glimpses which we get, we mistake that to be our eternal state and we get stuck up that. And there is a danger somehow mysteriously we may slide down and then get entrapped in this mind. This curve has to be transcended, and you have to exist as that bindi, irreversible state of turiya. In the waking and dream state, you the subject is there and you the object is there. Waker and waker's world. Waker is the subject, waker's world is the object. Dreamer is a subject, dreamer's world is the object. Deep sleep, there is only one subject, you. There is no object, because the medium which can connect the subject with the object, the body, mind, intellect, is sleeping, not active there. So in the deep sleep, the deep sleeper is there, but the deep sleeper's world is not there actually. Or you can say the deep sleeper's world is there, object is there, and the deep sleep also as the no world. The world is there as a no world. So potential world in the darkness is there, which is not experienced. All subject object in all these Swapna Jagara Shushupti state arise, exist, and dissolve in me the pure consciousness. Because all this arising, exist, sustaining, and dissolving. Remember the wave ocean, the wave arising, growing high, and dissolving, coming down. All these things happen in the concept of time space. You are seeing, you are witnessing there on the seashore, you are seeing the ocean, the wave coming up, going to the reaching the crescendo and coming down. It is all happening in time. Suppose it is arising, the time stops there. Kaladeva stops there, then it will be there only. It will not come down. In the time space, all these things are happening. Whereas Turiya, the ultimate state of consciousness, is not in time space, because the Brahman existed prior to time space. Now we are in for some heavy stuff. But he's giving, because YouTube, it will be there for not only the few of you, but for the sadhakas of the world. Anytime they can see. Thuriam. Thuriam is being explained. In the Mandukya Upanishad is the smallest Upanishad with about 11 verses or so. But then Gaudapada, the Guru of Adi Shankara, he gave further commentary on the Mandukya Upanishad, which is known as Mandukya Karika. Okay, it came subsequently. In that, while coming after finishing this exposition on the three states, Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, he is coming to Turiam and he is explaining. Turiam, it is not that which is conscious of the internal and subjective world, nor that which is conscious of the external world, nor that which is conscious of both, nor that which is a mass of consciousness. Incidentally, the three sadhakas are going to be all, the four sadhakas are all going to be in big smiles, because this not that state was given by him to those four sadhakas after existing in samadhi on a morning or an evening. He gave that message just 2 days before, and here all the not that is coming, Neti is coming. Nor is it unconsciousness. It is unseen by any sense organ, beyond empirical dealings, incomprehensible by the mind, uninferable, unthinkable, indescribable, essentially by the self alone, negation of all phenomena, the peaceful, the auspicious, and the non dual. That is what is called as the fourth state, or that state, Turiya. This is the Atman, and this is to be realized. Sa Atma, Sa Vijaneya, that is to be realized. The Supreme Being cannot be described by any language, since language can express itself only by describing the qualities. The only way by which the fourth or the Turiya, the Atman, can be indicated is by the language of Neti, negation. And this technique is well adopted in in this famous description of the reality. Nowhere in the literature of philosophy, Chinmaya is writing, at any time and in any language has the reality been so beautifully described. The Upanishads start the discussion of the human experiences by a declaration that the reality, the Atman, has four padas, four quarters. Mandukya Upanishad. Of them, the three quarters have already been described: the waking state ego, the dream state ego, and the deep sleep state ego. In this mantra, the Rishi is attempting to give a complete and exhaustive description of the fourth quarter, the Turiya. The waker, the dreamer, and the deep sleeper have all been completely described in the previous mantras. And elaborately, the Rishi could explain. But when the Rishi has come down to explain the fourth state, he has taken altogether a novel style, the language of negation. Using a language of negation, the Rishi has here provided the seekers with an exhaustive and complete definition of the eternal truth factor that visualizes all living beings. Na anta prajnam, it is neither internal subjective world, na bahis prajnam, not which is conscious of the external objective world, na ubhayata prajnam, not that which is conscious of both. When we negate, as we have done the first and the two phases, both the waking and dream, there can be a confusion as something that could be in between or containing both or combination of both. So he is negating that also. Na prajnana ganam, nor that which is a mass of consciousness. What we have thus negated, when we have thus negated the Vaishwanara, the Taijasa, and the Livit, you may not be able to understand. Na prajnam, nor that which is simple consciousness. The entire gamut of negation should naturally leave the student with only one possibility. He must certainly understand that the Atman is a simple consciousness or his conscience. But those daring great thinkers of the Hindu philosophy uncompromisingly stood on the platform of their realized knowledge. And it is beyond existence and non-existence, we say. Na? So here it is not even a simple consciousness. It is that which is the state upon transcending the awareness that you are the simple consciousness. So in that context, it is not simple consciousness also. Na aprajnam, not that it is insentient. You cannot say it is not there. Okay. Atman is neither aware of the outer world nor the inner world, nor it is conscious of both, nor is it a mass of consciousness, nor is it a simple consciousness. Therefore, the only possibility a student may decipher that it is insentient. That is ruled out by the Rishi. He says, Na aprajnam, don't think it is insentient. Just because I told you it is neither subjective nor external nor simple consciousness, don't think that it doesn't exist. It is anatman. No, no, it is neither that. Adrishtam, unseen. The self is explained here as that which is not seen by the sense organs. Jagdish Viveka covers this adequately, devoted 2 sessions for this. Avyavharam, not related to anything. It is indicated that the self is an all pervading factor and that it is not related with other things of the world. In this world, all the things and beings have their vyavahara only in the self. As an analogy, we may take space. Space is not related with anything, and yet no relation can exist except in space. Similarly, the reality, eternal and immortal, is the medium in which all the names and forms of the world function. It is avyavaharam, the Atman, the Turiyam, but everything can happen only, the Vyavahara can happen only in that Avyavahara Turiya. Agrahyam, incomprehensible. Okay, the mind can comprehend that which is reported to it through any one of the sense organs. Here, sense organs are not there, so it is incomprehensible. Alakshanam, uninferable. There is no lakshana. Because when he says it is not even simple consciousness, then the Tatastha and the Sarupa Lakshana are also transcended. So he says it is Alakshana. Achintyam, unthinkable. It is self-evident from the above expositions that it is can never be thought as a thinking matter. Avyapadeshyam, undescribable. We started the Moksha Gita with indescribable thing. Now, coming to the positive, after ruling out all those things, now a series of positive affirmations flows from the source Gaudapada. Ekatma Pratyaya Saram. Remember the Tetra Pak example, Saram Swami told. Essentially of the nature of consciousness. Ekatma Pratyaya Saram. It is the essence. The essence without all the previous ones which have all been negated. prapanchopashamam. The Turiya state is in the realm into which the world of finitude and its imperfect experiences have no admission. Again, he gets into positive, then again goes into negation. It is only up to the gate of Turiya that we have the plurality and the experience of the plurality. Prapancha, which is constituted of the pluralistic world of mortality, is experienced only in the three other states of consciousness. Only when the three states are transcended, the bindi, not related to the curves and the om at all, we come enter into that reality, bindi, turiya. Shantam, peaceful. In our earlier talks, okay, Shantam, Shivam, Advaitam. The Shantam, Shivam, Advaitam, he needs one session to describe this. So we will leave it here. And thus having indicated to us the Turiya state through the language of negation and having given some positive qualities, the Rishi concludes saying that that is what is known as the Turiya. Thus, through the mantra, though the mantra is one of the glorious definitions of reality, it does not define directly, but it has only accomplished its function through the technique of negation. Having thus negated the world of objects within ourselves, the master points out to a state away from the waking dream deep sleep, and he says to his disciple, "This is Turiya." Never has any Shrotriya Brahmanishta Guru also been able to bring his most qualified disciple face to face with the reality Atman and shown Atman as much clearly as the disciple could see his face in the mirror. Following the chiseling of the Krishna example, all that Atman is not, all those things will be explained very clearly. And some lakshanas will be given in the initial stage, and even those lakshanas will be withdrawn at the later state when the guru knows, he has the intuition, the disciple has almost reached there. Then he says, all these things you take it out. All the descriptions you take it out. Even Shantam, Shivam, Advaitam, you take it out. Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, you transcend. You transcend, 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 transcend. The transcending of Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam has been given way back in the 40-minute meditation to the sadhakas, where slowly, gradually, each of them were transcended, and then the sadhaka reaches that absolute silence, Turiyam. The ultimate experiencing of the Turiyam is possible only for the sadhaka, because never has it been possible that the entire stuff, the entire existence, entire state of the sadhaka can be entirely, totally, wholesomely replaced by the state of the Guru. The Guru can never superimpose his transcendental state absolutely on the sadhaka state and give him this. Even when Mukunda, Paramahamsa Yogananda, or Narendra, Vivekananda, even when all of them got all their moment of enlightenment are all available in the YouTube. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa's is available, Vivekananda's is available, Paramahamsa Yogananda's moment of enlightenment is available. But when the Guru intuitively knew that the sadhaka has reached that state that he has to get the enlightenment, then that indescribable in inexplicable Almighty Brahman gives for that moment that siddhi in this Guru, that power in the Guru, which the Guru never claims that it is mine. He doesn't even think or bother about that siddhi. That siddhi is bestowed upon the Guru. The Guru strokes the sadhaka, and sadhaka gets the enlightenment. So the Guru can give everything. 10 years he has been giving. 10 years is not a short time. He can give everything from the Upanishads, from the Vedanta treatise, from the such Pratasmarami stotras, everything. But it is up to the sadhaka to know and realize for once and forever whether we are going to be waking up to the world of avidya samsara, whereby wherein the waking is actually death, or we want to wake up to the smarami prata smarami, where we experience that Satchit Sukham Turiyam, and getting convinced that this is the goal, this is the purpose, and take up the Acharya's teachings, instructions, any Acharya, any Shrotriya Brahmanishta, dead or alive. Take it and then be very clear that I am born only for this. All other things are merely my duties in the samsara, towards my husband, towards my wife. Do it with utmost love. With such love, after coming to this path of Vedanta, after taking all these sessions, the love which radiates from you, through you, to all your kith and kin should be a never before love, selfless love. Radiate love and perform all your duties to all of them. But all that, let them go on and on as a part of your dharma, being born as a human being. But to realize that Brahma Ananda, to reach to that ultimate Satchit Sukham, you are born only to breathe, drink, eat, sleep, walk, exist in the sessions, in the teachings of your chosen Acharya. Confusion happens when you are not able to, like he said in the previous this thing, the three states of imbalance, the samsara creation is created. You are never able to balance between your worldly duties and your only goal of the Satchit Sukham, and be in the sessions, walk sessions, drink sessions. This equilibrium you are losing every day without failure. And you always get entrapped into that waking, which is death, and you are missing on the pratasmarami, awakening to the eternal spirit, samsfurat atmatattva. This is the tragedy in the Guru Shishya parampara everywhere. Yet swapna jagara shushuptim. He had a lot to talk about it, but he will leave it because of the shortage of time. One example: someone asks Swamiji, a monk, how can you say that the self shines forth and pervades the entire creation? Okay, because it says avaiti nityam. In that Paramahamsa state is the state, that Turiyam state is the state. Avaiti nityam, it is that which is witnessing eternally the three states. If Turiyam state is understood, and it is all can be understood also by even in all of you, that you can Turiya is the eternal state, witness consciousness. And other than that, you can either be in the Jagrat or Swapna or Shushupti. There is no other state. So, in your otherwise, in your existence as a human being, this Turiyam state is consciousness is the eternal witness of your three states of consciousness. So, and that is as much the eternal witness consciousness at macrocosm of the entire creation of all the three states of all the jivas of the entire creation. So they doubt, how can you say that self shines forth and pervades the entire creation? You are telling that the self is pervades the entire creation, Swamiji. But see the irony, I am here, you are there, and I am not even there. And you are saying, I am not even there where you are sitting, and you are saying the self pervades the entire creation. Swamiji answered, ah, wait. You told here and there. Tell me, where are these here and there? And tell me who is aware of your being here and I am being there and you are not being able to reach there. Who in you is saying this? That I am here, you are there, I am not even there. How you can say that consciousness is pervading? Who find out the answer? Who is conveying to you that you are here and the Guru is there and you are not even able to reach there, be there where Guru is? Find out the answer. And once you discover the answer to it, know that that answer, that which is conveying to you this particular thing, pervades everywhere. Avaiti nityam. Tad brahma nishkalam aham nacha bhuta sangha. Nishkalam, partless. Partless is Bheda. This is going to come in on these sessions many times. Three Bhedas. So Brahman is partless. He is not going over again. Okay? Swagata, Sajatya, Vijatya Bheda. He is not, he is beyond all this. Nishkala. Tad Brahma Aham. I am that Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi. In the sentence Aham Brahmasmi or I am Brahman, the I is that which is the one witness consciousness, standing apart from even the intellect, different from the ego principle, and shining samsfurat, shining through every act of thinking, feeling, etc. This witness consciousness, being the same in all, is universal and cannot be distinguished from Brahman, which is the absolute. Hence, the essential I is full, super rational, and resplendent, should be the same as Brahman. I, the witness consciousness, that Swamiji's answer, that I cannot be an individual Atman for him, individual Atman for each one of you. Okay, you exist in the Atman pure canvas. Atman does not, Atman is discovered in the cave of the heart, and upon discovery, the realization when it dawns, Pratasvarami, Samsfura, you realize that the entire creation is only that, and I exist only as that. I do not exist as this body mind limited intel limited vesture. So the I Atman self has to be universal because it is it is it is illumining, it is witnessing. Ultimately, this witnessing, illumining also goes. That is very far off from today's this thing sadhana, this thing level. But since it is the illuminator, it is the witness of Not only me, it was my consciousness, it can illumine only me. It can only witness me. Since it witnesses and illumines the entire creation, so it has to be the spirit that is universal absolute. And what is that universal absolute? That is Brahman. So I cannot be different from that Brahman. So aham tat Brahman. Tat Brahman aham. Nishkalam aham. Tat Brahma aham. Aham Brahmasmi. Four Mahavakyas are there in the Upanishads from four different Vedas: Rig, Yajur, Sama, Atharvana. The teacher says, Tat Tvam Asi, thou art that. You are that all. The student has not realized that. Upadesha Vakya. This is Mahavakya, which is the spirit, the essence is Upadesha. He's telling, be aware. Ultimately, you will know, but today I am telling Tattvamasi. First verse of the Moksha Gita, when the student came to the Acharya, Acharya told Sachidananda Parabrahman. So, connectivity of the Brahman with the disciple is given as an Upadesha by the Acharya. Then the student contemplates on what teacher expounded in the form of the idea. Oh, still he has not realized, but still he is convinced. Mananam, aham brahmasmi. This is Anusandhana Vakya. The conviction based on Acharya's Upadesha upon Mananam is given by the disciple. Finally, the student realizes that this self which is within him is Brahman. Okay. The student says, I am Atma Brahma. The student whispers to his Acharya, it's true. So, first one is Tattvamasi, second one is Aham Brahmasmi, and then at the individual level he realizes, okay, and he says that I am Atma Brahma. Okay, this is Anubhava Vakya. And then ultimately he goes to say that Prajnanam Brahma. He's here, his I am has gone. I am Brahma, Aham Brahmasmi has gone. The individual consciousness has gone. He says consciousness is Brahman, Prajnanam Brahman. At that universal, this thing, absolute level, the awareness of awareness has been transcended. Then from the Anubhava, he goes to eternal Anubhuti and says Prajnanam Brahma. Nacha Bhuta Sangha. All that we can perceive is made out of five elements. No need to repeat for material cause, then the five elements, instrument cause, okay, and the efficient cause, Jagat Karta, Jagat Karana, okay, both in the dream as well as in the waking state. Therefore, in our practice, it is useful to become aware of these building blocks, these five elements. Manifestation appears to consist of many forms, objects, and materials which can be observed one item at a time. But you narrow it down to only five things precisely, chisel out all the objects and get into the very material essence, not the spirit, material essence of all the objects in this creation. It converges, it comes down to five elements, panchabhutas. Then you contemplate that everything that is made of earth is not who I am. Everything that is made of water is not who I am. One by one, you take the five elements and you get into the contemplation. It is also one way of technique of meditation on the panchabhutas. One by one you take, and then you get to the experience that I am not the one who is created by earth, by fire, by air, by space, okay, by water. One by one all the five elements are gone. So the first aspect of the creation is gone. You then retrace to what you actually are, Atma Tattva, or more than Atma Tattvam, Turiya. I am the self of all, without all. Again, he is repeating, as long as one has not realized that he is verily that Turiyam Atma Tattvam, one will identify himself with these five elements and he will go forward, not retrace, go forward and get into the subsequent creation of through the five elements into the objects of the creation, which can include human beings, relations, which can include several objects, and get entrapped into that waking state, which is death, Mrityu Rupani. Whereas only one, when one exists as Paramahamsa, being able to segregate Atman from Anatman and discard the Anatman even while existing in the creation, like the swan bird, its feather does not get wet even while it exists in the water. One who is able to discard this and even while existing in the creation, if he is a grahastha or a yogi who is still in the society, only who he existing in this creation made out of five elements and facing the objects made out of five elements day in and day out, yet like the Paramahamsa, like the Hamsa bird, he is able to transcend the five elements, and like the explained in the meditation, he is able to transcend all, each one by one. The last to leave is this space. Space is the subtlest. Space is the first one to have emanated when he somehow willed to create. He retraces and leaves the five elements and exists as the Paramahamsa. What is that Paramahamsa's goal, which has been already obtained? Turiya. Paramahamsa Gatim Turiya. We end with a poem by For a Change by the Shrotriya Brahmanishta disciple Krishnanandaji Maharaj of the Shrotriya Brahmanishta Guru Shivanandaji Maharaj. Krishnanandaji writes, this soul dies not, is always. No one eternally is damned in past, present, and future lives. The soul without a tinge of taint. Okay, Niranjana. The soul discards redundant forms as one abandons worn out clothes for improved conditions ahead in search of freedom which is bodiless. What it cannot become a not, what is not ever, never can exist. Knowers of reality's core, behold the quintessence of things. All pervading is the deathless soul. None can destroy or hurt the self, which defies destruction and change. It is above time and space and cause. The forms perish as processes, duration gripped and localized. But soul that enshrines forms and shapes is unrelated, processless. For all the processes to happen in the time space gambit in this creation, it is this spirit soul which has to illumine, otherwise, nothing can happen. But yet, the soul stands apart, having no relation with all that which it illumines. No soul is born, no soul does die. Embodiments get remodeled since evolution is the name of advance towards true selfhood. Eternal, unborn is a self which is called the soul when it abides in finite centers, bodies, forms. In truth, it is the self of all. Nacha bhuta sangaha, earth, water, fire, and air do not affect the soul of self ever. The soul involved in bodies ages, imagines that it too is grieved. When the body is suffering pain, the soul, due to avidya, feels that it is grieved. Or to put it the other way, that which is grieving the pain is not the soul at all. Uncleaved, unwetted, unwetted, the hamsa feather is unwetted, unburnt, unwithered is the source of all. Glory immortal, omniself, omnipresent, and omniscient. Four lines of Adi Shankara. It is indivisible rock was taught in the Yoga Vashishta. It the four verses packed without any oozy mune, even in the needle level of any gap. The four lines pack the Vedanta essence and give in such a beautiful poetic way. Hridi Samswarat Atma Tattvam is the height of poetic depiction of the Atma Tattva. Kriti something Atma Tattvam could, that Samswarat is the height of poet. Not only that he was the topmost exponent of Vedanta, but he was a genius poet, Adi Shankara. When you go to Shivananda Lahiri, when you go to Kanagadhara Stotram, when you go into all the hymns that he has created, he has given, oh, oh. If you have gone through what he has been in all this 1 hour, then you can be rest assured for in this during this 1 hour you got the glimpse of that pure awareness already. Even for a moment, if you had been in that state in which he has been while pouring this 1 hour. Pratasmarami hridi samswarat atmatattvam Satchit sukham paramahamsa gatim turiyam Yat swapna jagara shushuptim avaiti nityam Tad brahma nishkalam aham nacha bhuta sangha. After listening to this twice, thrice, 4 times, 10 times, imagine in this spirit, with this mananam, with this clarity of this stotram, daily 4:30, at least definitely before 5, you you this thing light up the jyoti and sit. And in that silence, when the world is asleep in the slumber of ignorance and it is going to wake up to the samsara, which is death, if you are going to chant this from the innermost spirit, Paratasmarami, when all the three verses are over, of course, with the upload will start with the three recitation by the Divyatman, the music version also. So initially you play and you listen. Afterwards, no need to play. When in this mananam, when if you are going to recite this Pratasmarami, by the time you reach Tat Brahma Nishkalam Aham, you would have got that glimpse. And that glimpse is guaranteed daily. And for a momentless moment, you can exist as Paramahamsa. And what is the state of existence? Turiya. Very few sessions are packed so densely packed with the spirit from the starting till the end. This is one of those few sessions because to explain to you, to get you connected to that Atma Tattvam, he has to go in a descriptive mode and he has to take you from the lower level, not lower level, from the Shavana stage to the Nididhyasana. Nothing is lower. I beg your pardon. Okay, from that Shavana and to that Nididhyasana stage, he has to build up and he has to take you slowly. This starts with Nididhyasana and it starts with Atma Tattva. Pratasmarami conveys everything, everything. And subsequently, each expression is is glorifying that which you are remembering upon awakening to the Atma Tattva. Whatever you have gained or whatever you have not gained, you know, and Swami knows. And few of you respond to him, he will know. But this, I have to, he has to, he's filled with gratitude for you because this 1.5 hours, he has existed without a break. Hari Om Tat Sat. Jai Sai Ram. We also remember that song and end with satsang. What was that song? Prata Smaranam Shri Guru Charanam. Sai Charanam Mama Guru Sharanam. Brahmananda Satchit Sukham Brahmananda Pradhayaka Charanam. Charanam Charanam Sai Charanam Sai Sharanam. Jai Sai Ram. 50 should have attended this. Kali, some 7, 8, or 6.